Adam, welcome back to the BFC. How you doing, man?
Hey, man, happy New Year, and let's go Bills.
Wait 1 second. You're one-upping me here, but you got the Sean McDermott look going on. You do.
Well, that's genetics. That's not exactly by design.
All right, so I'm going to join you then. This is what we're doing.
There we go. Got to support the hometown
When in
team.
Rome. That's right. And so hopefully we actually have a really good game today. I'm actually excited. There's a stereotype that, we always eat wings, during a Bills game. I actually do have the fryer ready because I'm going to bang out some wings. And I'm going to use some Who's Your Daddy sauce. No, this isn't a sponsor, but this is ghost pepper sauce, barbecue sauce, and it's really good. Yeah, so
nice.
Try it. Probably would be good on some shrimp.
I don't doubt that it would be good on some shrimp. So we'll have to get that. We'll have to get that lined up here pretty quickly.
Right on. And so let's just get right into it. Sure. Let's recap 2023. Just give us a rundown of the accomplishments that you guys had over there at Trans-American Aqua.
Yeah, I mean, some of the big things that we did last year, we harvested shrimp. That's kind of the first and foremost thing. We got approved by the Aquaculture Authority, the Coastal Aquaculture Authority in India, to be a preferred broodstock supplier. We've set up, I think what we're moving towards here is a good relationship with the prominent supermarket chain that we're working with, that we actually are selling the shrimp to from our harvest from this past year. Brought on some new board members. We'll continue that trend in 2024, in early 2024 here, with a couple new additions to the board, and also a new audit chairman member. So Malcolm McNeil, who served as our audit chair for the past year and did a phenomenal job for us in terms of, getting that audit done. I mean, the audit, our financial audit took from February till the middle of August to complete. So that was no small undertaking. But Malcolm did a great job working with the auditors and with the internal team to get that done. But he's going to transition now into more of a more formal day-to-day financial management role within the company. So we're pretty excited about that. But, as part of that, too, a little bit of a conflict of interest to have a day-to-day oversight and be the audit chairman. So we're bringing on a new audit chairman board member. And then, we're setting ourselves up pretty well for 2024. So, that's kind of what we wanted to accomplish, I would say, more so than anything else, was to make sure that the company could keep going, keep growing. And I think we're poised for a pretty good shape going into 2024.
How many pounds? How many pounds did you guys produce?
So we produced 150,000 pounds of shrimp last year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was a little bit under where we were hoping to be, but that's, that was the target. It was the target that we had set out was much higher than that. But, the audit kind of being one of the big things that took so long, and getting a lot of the financing lined up in relation to that, for us to be able to pull that together, we're pretty happy with that, pretty proud of that. And like I said, we're working with some pretty prominent supermarket chains that are very interested in the product. Some are already buying. So we're looking forward to continuing those relationships going into this year.
That's amazing. And you know what? 150,000 pounds of shrimp is nothing to snub for the first year. I think. Congratulations, dude. Seriously. Good for you. Thank guys.
You. Yeah. And I mean, it's
amazing.
Yeah, it was one of those things where there's a lot of room for improvement. We'll be focusing on those efficiencies going into this year. And then, I think one of the things we've tried to do over the last year too is to show the scale and the scope of the farm, like how big actually the farm is. We used a small portion of that last year. And so, there's a lot of room for us to grow in terms of efficiency, productivity, but then also in just terms of sheer capacity. So those are some of the things that will be, kind of when we get into our 2024 harvest plans and start to bring out some releases around that and have some more discussions on that, we'll definitely, try and come on the BFC to explain those things. We'll kind of detail out those a little bit further about where we're at in terms of all the different things that we're working on.
Man, I got to ask you though, would you say is like maybe the one thing that you learned about that you sort of didn't know going into it? I know I'm throwing you a curveball here, but like, if there's one thing that sort of opened up your eyes in doing all of this, not even just like trading, publicly on the OTC, but I'm talking about like, right? The business side of it, given your background and doing the shrimp farming, and which is in your family now, so it's your whole family's involved in it. What have you learned from the business side of things?
Well, I think we'll go with the shrimp side of things too, is that our farm, specifically where we're at, has a ton of natural productivity, which is, that means that the shrimp get a lot of nutrients and a lot of things that come directly from the water and from the soil that are on the bottom of the ponds. So that's something we've been able to really kind of tweak the genetics on, in terms of over the years and years, the different families, the more generations we have, the more accustomed they are to the farm. So we're in like kind of family 6 right now, and going into this year, we'll be in family 7. So they're starting to get really comfortable at the farm. And that's a great thing in terms of growth rates, survival, and, just being comfortable in the environment they're in. Shrimp are pretty finicky, and to have build the genetics to have a robust shrimp is a lot more difficult than you think. It's not like, I found this out the wrong way, but like, it's not like buying a goldfish, throwing it in a tank, and then just giving it some feed every once in a while and letting it go. Much more robust than that. In terms of the business side, I think the biggest change for us this year, you kind of hit on it, was the public company. And before, there was kind of, 12 masters to serve type thing, because that was all that was part of the former LLC of Transamerican. Now there's literally thousands of shareholders and thousands of people with opinions that, it's making sure that the ship continues on the straight path, even though you're getting all these opinions and all these thoughts about how to run your company. So we've got we're rounding out our board really well, with a lot of folks that have not just industry experience, but also public company experience. So kind of foreshadowing a little bit on one of the releases we'll have coming up here. But then as well, like we'll kind of like call it our advisory board. So we have some pretty, we'll call it seasoned veterans in terms of running major public companies that are coming on as consultants or advisors to the company as well for this past year. So I'm really excited about focusing 100% on driving the company forward, and knowing that, the results and the stock and all that stuff will kind of tag along with it as we perform.
Right on. So out of a 10, what would you rate yourself, rate your production, rate the execution of the plan for 2023? If you had to give yourself a number. I know, and you know what? You are your own self-critic, and I know. So
yeah,
if you could fair and balance it, what would you give yourself out of 10?
I would say a 7. And now, when I talk about that, I just talk about all, like, from that perspective, the things that we had to overcome. We're still dealing with some legacy things from the company that we took over that we'll be looking to very quickly get out of in this year. But then also just like the audit, like everything that we, had set out to do this year took twice as long and cost 5 times as much. And so, it was, I think that was an awakening for us. But the fact that we were able to produce such a robust harvest, such, quality product, I think that's, we're starting to get it out in the marketplace now, and we've got some things that we'll be sending out to, some of our loyal fans and customers and things like that. But I think the quality of the product, what we're able to achieve, the headwinds that we faced, and kind of now turning those headwinds into tailwinds going into 2024.
The whole company must be ecstatic knowing that the product is going to be sold in supermarkets. That's freaking cool.
Yeah,
that you're going to walk in and you're going to see your product there. It's just like unbelievable.
Yeah, that's a really, a really exciting thing to be able to explain to, all the folks that have made this possible this past year. In addition to that, the things that we've got going on in India, like I'll be heading to India next month to work on the broodstock program with some hatcheries and some of the managers that we've been able to have discussions with over the last few months since we got that approval. So really looking forward to that as well, because that's and also another alternative avenue for revenue for us that, our main source of revenue is always going to be the production of the shrimp, but the broodstock is not going to be an insignificant piece that's going to help propel us and the name of the company globally. So, where we're really focusing on the domestic sales of the product, because, the U.S. consumer, what we can offer, this gives us an opportunity with the broodstock to kind of globalize the company in a little bit more stronger manner.
Right on. Now, you've been to India before.
I've not.
Oh, you've not been. You did some traveling before for the company. Whereabouts did you go?
I'll put it this way. I was not within 12 hours of Dallas. I was working on a couple broodstock programs that we may be able to kind of come to the market with later this year. But, we do have that, the program that we're working with and the project that we're working with in the Algerians with our counterpart over there, Majid.
Wow.
So still working with him, but now there's some other things that have kind of bubbled to the surface as well through other parts of the world that we're starting to look to take advantage of as well.
That's awesome. It's exciting. Man, you are getting your your flight time in, that's for sure. Your travel time. And you got it. Man, you have got to send us pictures, your journey to India, and when you go out there, you got to send us some videos and some updates. We definitely want to check it out. Going forward, what is the thing now? We got the name change coming up, which is exciting. Yeah. So that's coming along.
Well, yeah. So
coming along.
That's been. If anybody from FINRA is on the phone right now, or on listening online, please take my advice and be consistent with your examiners. Unfortunately, we were making a lot of progress towards the end of the year, and then all of a sudden, I found out a week ago we got a new examiner. The examiner that was that we were kind of working with to get the name and ticker symbol done, is no longer working for FINRA. That's all we'll say. That's all the information they gave me. So we're looking. My understanding is like there was just a few things outstanding. We had all those things answered before the end of the year. So hopefully, we're in pretty good shape going in here. But yeah, that's kind of one of the major milestones for the company, to get Trans-American Aquaculture out there, really start promoting the new symbol, the new name. That's really something that we're gearing up for, and you're going to see a lot of marketing efforts put behind that.
That's excellent. That's excellent. All right. So one last question for you. By the way, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you. Great
Likewise.
to have you. What is something that you're looking forward to the most in 2024? The ultimate catalyst, the ultimate goal for TAA.
I mean, our ultimate goal, we set it out last year, was to be number 2. Whether or not we got there, there's a private company that we may or may not have exceeded their production for this year. They don't release their numbers, but we can't comfortably say that. Our goal this year is to be number 1. So there's one kind of company standing between us and being the number 1 producer of domestic farm-raised shrimp. Our goal is to be number 1 this year. I think, when we set out our goals for this year, that's number 1. I mean, well, along with being profitable, profitability kind of, and making sure that the cash flow is there to continue operations in the future. But our number 1 target is, we know if we become the number 1 producer of shrimp this year, then those things will take care of themselves.
Oh, that's great, man. I'm rooting for you guys. I think it's going to be awesome. It's going to be great to watch your company grow, especially being a shrimp fan. And I'm wishing you all the best. So seriously, Adam, thank you so much for coming on the show for this update.
No worries. And yeah, I look forward to coming up. We've got a lot of, kind of all the things we touched on. We have updates coming out, whether it's going to be a press release or a targeted marketing campaign. Like, we have a lot of exciting things coming up in the not so distant future. So I'll be looking to, jump back on here and, monopolize as much of your time as possible. So appreciate the audience.
Seriously, do it. When I say, like, I want videos, I want pictures of the operations out there, just the trip in general. Because you know what, when you're going on this journey as a business owner, and I'm not saying I've ever done this, but I could just imagine, especially when you're working in a global capacity, you're traveling all over the world, man. And so, I mean, that in and of itself is quite the experience and worth it, in my opinion. And so you're just submerging yourself in different cultures and different markets. It's just unbelievable, So I definitely hope you keep us updated on it.
I will do. And no, I appreciate all of, the support of the BFC, of you, of, all the partners and things like that. So thanks a bunch for, for keeping us in mind and for giving us a little box to stand on. So I really appreciate it. Looking forward to working with you and the team, into 2024 and well beyond that as well.
All right. That is Adam Thomas, CEO of GRPS. Now get this guy out of here. Go Bills. Go Bills.
Go Bills.